let's get right into it. How'd you get started in this industry? This is going to be a fun
Man.
talk. We're going to go over some nerdy analytics from the channels and stuff like that. A TikTok that we tweaked that the Dynasty Nerds had done. But let's get started with you. How did you get started?
Yeah, so it's just from the love of football. I grew up playing football, played through high school, went on to play at Akron for a little bit, and then after that, I needed some way to stay connected, and I've always played fantasy football. I always had a love for grading prospects or like looking into the draft to figure out who's going to be the next guy, you know, playing Madden, doing franchise mode, all that kind of stuff. And Dynasty was like perfect for that. And I discovered Dynasty honestly through listening to Dynasty Nerds.
Oh, did you really? Nice.
Yeah. And I created like an anonymous Twitter account. And while I'd be at work, just kind of having some downtime, I'd be digging through stats and trying to figure things out. And then I kind of got into the echo chambers of Twitter and started putting out my own stuff. And some people liked what they were seeing. And I got hired to write for FF Analytics. Oh my gosh, FF Statistics. I almost forgot the name. FFstatistics.com, which was run by Addison Hayes. Do you know Addison?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I love his stuff.
Yeah.
Man.
So it was like
a one on this show.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. And it was a real like collective, like Peter Howard was involved with that. And then there's a lot of other names that you probably know. This is like 5 years ago. And then I kind of just kept growing and I wanted to find something else to do. So, I left their site and kind of put my name out there like, hey, I'm looking for somewhere else to write. DLF was going to bring me in, and then Garrett Price from Dynasty Nerds, he had reached out in my Twitter DMs, and he was like, hey man, I see you're in Canton, Ohio. I live in the area too. We should get a drink sometime. And at the time, my Twitter handle was Fantasy Jimbo. For whatever reason, dude. I just came up with it one day.
You're not Jimbo, but yeah.
Right, yeah. So come to find it, like Garrett lived right down the road from me.
Oh, nice.
So we met up at the local like sports bar here, and first thing I tell him, like, hey dude, my name's not Jimbo.
Let's just get that.
Jared.
Yeah. Shake your hand and tell you my name is Jared, not Jimbo.
Exactly. And you know, he's like, hey, why don't you come like write for Dynasty Nerds? You can do whatever you want. And I was like, all right, like there's a local guy here that I can connect with. The founders, Rich, Matt, Josh, they were from Ohio, about an hour away from me towards Cleveland. And I was, why not? You know, like there's a group of guys here that I can actually like meet up with and talk to. And they had something really good going. And I started listening to their show like the first time that I had heard of Dynasty. So
me too.
Yeah, got hired in there, wrote some articles, and Garrett would bring me up to the leadership meetings with the founders and just to kind of talk about what is next, you know, in this upcoming year. What are some things that we need to improve on? What are some things we need to start doing to really take that next step? So I was just more involved at those meetings, and I'm the kind of guy, I've always been entrepreneurial, where I'm always thinking like, how can we do things better? How can we become more efficient? How can we grow? And how can we earn more revenue? Things like that. So I would just bring my ideas. They liked them, and then I would act on them. So long story short, here we are.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's sweet. Jared shared, for anybody in the crowd listening, how many eyeballs do we have in here? I can't even see on my screen. Top left corner, it's cut off. But no, yeah, he sent me this, basically a resume essentially of what Jared's done with Dynasty Nerds, and it's pretty ridiculous, honestly. It gave the you know, the revenue amounts, how much they're growing. You know, it's over 120% year over year is what it seemed like it was. But so talk to me about the producing, the content creation aspect of it. So you do produce the podcast. Talk about, you wear tons of hats, as we were talking about, but talk about kind of your day-to-day as a quote unquote content creator and running this business.
Yeah, I would say my creator side of me has definitely taken a back seat, which is a little unfortunate with what I'm passionate about, because I do like creating and putting out my thoughts and making content. But I have 3 kids, like we were talking about before, and I've always been a team player. So I'm like, I always prioritize like, what do we need, and what am I best at to like fulfill what we need. And it's been with producing the show now. So when I came on, Rich was producing the show pretty much by hitting start and stop on GarageBand and then uploading it. And the sound quality just wasn't great. It was good and it did well for him, but I'm like, hey, we can make this better. Like, researched equipment that we need to get, send it out to the guys. I'm like, hey, if we get this and this and this, I'll produce the show. I know how to edit, or at least I know I'll figure out how to edit and teach myself.
Yep.
And yeah, so it was all out of like, let's make the sound quality of the show better, because I think that's so important. When I tune into a podcast and I hear like the sound's not great, it's kind of a turnoff for me.
Absolutely. No, it's more than 50% is audio. When it comes to consuming content, if it's audio and video, it's more than 50% is the audio. And ours sucks. The problem is I gotta find
I don't think so.
I mean, it's not horrible. It's just very hit or miss. Shane likes to move around like this a lot in his chair, and he's got a regular mic. Mine sits here, so it sounds fine. Scott's got like a piercing voice sometimes, so if he's up tight to the mic, like when I'm doing a little bit of soft editing, I like cut that part, soften him a little bit, but we don't sound consistent. But I don't think we're bad enough to where we're losing viewers. I don't know. I wonder if
you guys come across my TikTok timeline all the time, like I told you earlier. And I don't think your guys' sounds bad at all. I think it's fine. So
you think it's fine as a producer? That's good to hear.
But yeah, I mean, I told you before the show, I have a 1-year-old now. And when we had the baby, or a couple months leading into having the baby, I kind of stopped going up to Rich's house, because we record in person, which is nice. A lot of people in this industry can't do that.
Yeah.
So Garrett drives 2.5 hours to Rich's house and back 2.5 hours the other way every single Tuesday. That man is dedicated. And Matt lives up there. So we were all meeting up there. I have my little seat there where I control the sound levels. I watch the audio coming into Adobe Audition, which is what we use to record now. Yep. And then we also video record the show now too through OBS. So I'm watching all those things, making sure the camera's still going and all of that. Sometimes there's glitches and whatnot that I have to deal with, but we have the process pretty well down now. But when I was gone with the baby, we had to figure out like how those guys aren't tech savvy. So I had to like walk them through like, okay, you just got to hit save on this template when you're done. And I got it to sync through the Creative Cloud on Adobe back to my computer at home.
And then you can take care of it.
And then then I'll sit down Wednesday morning and knock out all the compression and audio levels and everything and get it uploaded on the site. And there's a lot that goes into this. Like we just switched over to Spotify's megaphone system from Libsyn and seeing how that's going to generate more revenue for us with they have a Spotify audience network. Do you guys use them?
So
I know
we
Ray
actually, we drop on Destination Devi Radio's feed. So,
and he uses Spotify. I know that. Yeah.
You guys have been tight for a while. I know you have that relationship. You kind of helped get him a gig, right? It's kind of like the same thing.
I wouldn't say I helped get him a gig, but he was at Dynasty Nerds. Like I think he left right when I joined.
Got it.
But he and I are always obsessed with like draft scouting and rookies and stuff. So like we would DM back and forth, and that really, like, he's one of my best friends in the industry. Like
he's an awesome
talk about everything, man. Yeah. So
he's a great dude. And you said you're entrepreneurial. He definitely is. I like to think I am as well. So
dude
grinds,
it's just, man.
I hear it. It's good to see the hustle. Makes you want to work too. Right. So let's actually pop over to some analytics stuff in YouTube. We can kind of change the conversation over towards YouTube, TikTok, things like that. So I'm going to move this overlay here. And I'm going to put up, we'll see if I can make this work. Okay, we've got you all covered up. That's perfect. There we go. Now, so what we looked at last time, Jared, with Alan, is we pulled up the audience retention reports, which I think are so huge, and they are so important when it comes to a video. You want to make sure you're getting as many people making it all the way to the end as possible, because then they can click on the end screen card and keep binging your stuff. Well, this one I thought was super interesting. So this is the last Manic and Chill. We dropped this on Friday, and you see on the left-hand side there, rankings by views. So this was kind of right in the middle in terms of our last 10 videos in terms of performance. You see the views there with the green check mark. And then the impressions click-through rate. It's a low number, 6.6, but it has that green check mark still. So we kind of live in the 9 to 14%-ish range in terms of a click-through. The reason that's low yet is still a good click-through is if you look over to the right at the impressions, look at that crazy leap it had right after the publishing, where it just goes skyrocketing up. So what that happened is YouTube's like, oh, okay, this video is cool. People seem to like it. So they're pushing it out. It's being suggested, but as it's being pushed out to a really wide scale, it's not a content fit for lots of folks. So that's why the click-through rate is lower. But I thought it's super cool to be able to see this.
Is that click-through rate for them clicking on your video, or is that like a link within your
correct
in your description?
Clicking on the video.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, this isn't something that I'm great at, and it's collectively us as a business and a company, we are trying to get much better at understanding every single aspect of our company, every link we have anywhere. We're trying to get much better at tracking all of that information. And we're investing into some tools that help with that. Yeah, it's really difficult. But once you have it set up and running, it's just getting it set up and running effectively and then making decisions off of that.
It's funny. I'm doing the exact same thing. Like I'm starting to get better. Like my link tree is pretty tight now in terms of, linking there. And then we have our website and having that tight. Cause yeah, if you've got the link set up properly, you can get a lot of, cross traffic. It's good for SEO, all of that stuff.
And decision making.
Decision making. Yes.
Yeah,
that's a good
then
point.
You know where to put money, like for ads, or
smart.
What's working, what's not working, and you can adjust, where to adjust and stuff.
Yeah.
And that stuff we're not great at yet. And that's a big thing going into next year that we're trying to get better at.
Yeah. No, so another thing too with this audience retention port here is in the middle where it says the top moment. That's a good sign right there. So that's showing that in the middle of the video, that section is still really, really holding the audience. So that's just a positive thing. And obviously it's Shane and Scott. They know their stuff. It's good content, right? That's the key. If you want your videos to succeed on YouTube, make awesome videos that people watch.
Those two are great together.
They're amazing, man. Manic and Chill is a that's a brand in and of itself.
And those guys have been around for a long time, and they weren't doing content like together for a long time I knew. I don't know them great. I know them. I met Shane at Rich's house. I met Scott at the Expo, and he was on Garrett and I's show. But it's cool to see them they vibe really well together and feed off each other. And you do a really good job on your guys' show of moderating and asking the questions and keeping the conversation going.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a fun combo. It's a motley crew, the three of us, but it's a blast. Shane is a trip. Like
he reminds me of Rich. I was telling you.
Oh, he's the Rich of yes. Oh, it's the 16-minute mark last night. I don't know how much I want to get into it, but yeah, he was talking about getting very personal with Brock Purdy. It was like the 16. Oh,
I listened to that on the way home from Rich's last night when we were recording the pod because it's like past midnight when I get home. Oh yeah, I heard that. It was hilarious. I was cracking up.
Yeah. Talking about sucking off. You got it. So all right, what was I going to go to next here? So talk to me about what you, in terms of building the business, the revenue, the different branches that you have revenue wise, what pie is the biggest, things like that. You can get as high level or as detailed as you want, but let's talk about monetizing a business in this space, because that's something that we're having to start focusing on now. For the longest time, we were not monetizing the audience. I still am like very hesitant. I'm very protective over our YouTube community to where I don't want to come off as too salesy. With that being said, in order to grow the channel, we need some top line revenue. So talk to me
Yeah.
about how you run the business and are growing it.
Yeah. Sorry, my headphones, like this one went out, threw me off for a second. I mean, it's the guys they were like pretty much the first to Dynasty in making a podcast. Like they're going on 10 years of the Dynasty Nerds podcast next year. I mean, you talk to so many content creators in the space, and most of them got started like listening to Dynasty Nerds. Like that was the first
I did too.
Dynasty podcast they listened to. Right. So we have such a loyal following, and the nerd herd is strong. So that's really given us the ability at this point now to reach out to partnerships and ad sponsors like Underdog and Sleeper and Prize Picks, and we have a really good follow through rate with our audience, and we've done really well with Underdog, and we were able to get creative in those deals. So I mean, I told you since I sent it to you since 2020, like that's when we started really monetizing the podcast. And then by 2021, we saw 125% increase in our revenue. In 2022, we had another 125 increase in the revenue on that. And then 2023 year to date, we're at 120% increase again. So it's
That's
a lot
fantastic.
a lot of it's figuring out our value too over that time. We're like,
Sure, yeah. How do you price
we don't-
yourself?
we didn't know like what we're worth, you know? So really it just comes from time and figuring things out. But that growing that side of things, when I first started, like we didn't really have that. So that's been a nice little piece of the pie we've been able to grow over time, where we can reinvest into tools like the Dynasty GM and building out an app and reinvesting back into the company in different areas. But I would say the biggest piece of the pie in terms of revenue for us is definitely like memberships and providing tools back to the nerd herd. Extra podcast a week, you get the film room, you get access to the GM, and then we also put out Nerd Score, and you get access to the private Discord. So we're trying to give more and more back to that member base, so that there's value there.
You do. I've been a Nerd Herd member for a long time. It's not expensive, and your tools are dope. So you give plenty to us. Yeah, you get price higher.
Next piece of that is something we don't have on the site that most fantasy sites have, is the ability to do research with data. That's something we don't have right now, and we're definitely looking into investing into that in the coming years. So that's coming up for sure.
So one thing that was kick ass when I saw it come through on Twitter, I was like, oh snap! If people still say that, you guys in Sleeper getting as being a mini on Sleeper. Tell me what that looked like process wise, and kind of what the next step is. I mean, it's sick. I use it myself. Like I said, I've been a Nerd Herd member for a while. Use it in Sleeper. I'm thinking about a trade. Don't use a trade calculator very much, but hey, let's use yours. It's sick, man. Talk to me about it.
I would say that started with networking and cultivating relationships. So I don't know how, like I was pretty early in using Sleeper as a user, and I would always shoot him emails, be like, hey, you guys should add this,
You should do
or
this. Yeah,
like,
yeah.
this isn't working, or hey, can you guys do this? And they were quick on like
They are
adding the
fast.
feature or getting back to you. And I kind of developed a relationship with the guy that I was talking to there. And we ended up setting up a call a few years ago, and we were we were helping them out with building out an ADP sheet, and they were sending out these like rookie ADP sheets. You remember? I don't know if you remember those.
I guess I may not have.
It wasn't even rookie. It was just ADP in general. Yeah.
Okay.
It was like a Google sheet that they would send out. Like I developed that for him basically. And like with the guy that put that out, and he connected me with another guy there. And over the years, we've kind of just stayed connected because we knew eventually they wanted to roll out this minis thing that they have going.
Yeah.
And we knew that we were building out the GM, and we actually built the GM in the language, the coding language that they have within their ecosystem.
Yeah, so it would be a nice integration. Yeah.
Exactly. So that eventually when that time came, we would be able to, I'm not a developer, but sync it.
It's
easily.
Flexible to be able to drop it in, and then thereafter, in terms of the tweaks, at least you have the bones, the same foundation.
Right. So just staying connected, and they reached out to us, and because we were like, hey, when you're ready to go, let me know. And they reached out to us a little late in the process, so we kind of had to switch gears, like put all our resources into getting this done. And dude, our developer is awesome. Brian, he went to high school with Rich, and they lived together at Ohio State for a little bit. So we were really lucky there. Like, he's a full stack developer. He's amazing. And then Nick Piovano he oversees the product of the Dynasty GM. So he and Brian work pretty hand in hand together, and they really brought that to life. And I managed the go between us and Sleeper, and getting a deal done. But we're bringing value back to them and bringing value to that minis ecosystem. And then we're also getting the exposure within the Sleeper app itself to people that may not know about us. So
yeah.
What's a real good relationship?
What's the next step with that? I mean, I guess it's a living, breathing thing. Let the market tell you, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have
minis.
So many ideas that we want to implement, really good ideas. And we have I forget the website that we use, but people in the community can basically submit ideas, and then everyone can upvote them, kind of like Reddit. And you can see what features are wanted by your community, and then we can mark them as like planned, done, working on it, things like that. So is
that in Notion or
no, it's not in Notion. No, it's not.
I'm trying to think of the lingo you're using for the
yeah, I love management. Notion. That's a whole nother thing we can get
That's
into.
Another love in your life.
Dude, it's awesome. The things they're doing is pretty remarkable with the AI stuff they're rolling out. It's on a canny.io, cnny.io. It's just a product roadmap.
Yeah.
But eventually I'd love to build out like a marketplace on there, and allow everyone that wants to submit rankings, and people can upvote them, add them to their GM experience, maybe add 10 different rank sets to their GM experience to average out everything. And then the GM's powered by those rankings to value the calculator and the analyzer and everything we have in there. So we have so many cool ideas though.
You just have to triage them. You've got so many. It's like, okay, this costs this. This is like priority in terms of awesomeness.
Yes.
Trying to balance that out. Money doesn't grow on trees.
And nobody's full time with Dynasty Nerds. Everybody has
a quote unquote real job.
Yes, everyone does. Yeah. So time is the most, scarce resource that we all have.
For sure.
So it's a grind.
It would be nice to not have to sleep. I've always said that. or like, even if I only had to get like 4 or 5 hours, I would love it.
I know.
There's a lot of money to be made in in those extra few hours, right? No. So let's move over to something else. I asked Jared to give me and shout out to however many folks are in the crowd. Let me see. Yeah, we got 33 people hanging out with us.
What's up, guys? I'm reading through some of the chats. So
good stuff.
Matt may hit you up on that.
Okay, good stuff. So let me see here. What was I going to switch to? Oh yeah. So I asked Jared if I could take one of his TikToks and have our editor hit it and kind of level it up a bit. Just the amount of time we spend with production and audience retention and stuff, trying to get the viewer to stay on the TikTok. I'll kind of show you what we did and kind of what we do with our
You can do
with
it
ours.
before and after.
Yeah. So I'm gonna share my screen here. So I think I'm gonna get rid of this. Okay. All right, and I'll swap us to this other view. I need a producer. Here we go. Okay, let's share the screen here. Let's check this out. So this is the one that you shared. I believe it was a week ago or so. Let's see, 5 days ago. So it's got 92 likes, 7 comments, 4 shares. But let's go to it right here. Hopefully the sound will work. And I'm going to ask for you to give me the thumbs up. Right?
But Bowers has been dominating
He has
SEC
been.
since the moment he stepped foot on the field at 18. From the moment that dude was an 18-year-old.
Is he better as a prospect than Kyle Pitts?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's dominated.
Yes.
I don't know.
He'll be. Listen, I am married to Dalton and Kate.
That's
my husband. But boy,
This is some fornication talk right now.
Okay, so that's the before. You gotta love Rich. Yeah, and then the after, we'll go ahead and just I'm gonna bump it back over here, sir. Excuse me. We can pop it up right in between us.
Bowers has been dominating
He has
SEC since the moment he stepped foot on the field at 18.
Is he better as a prospect than Kyle Pitts?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's dominated.
Yes.
I don't know.
Listen, I am married to Dalton and Kate.
That's true. You
That's
are.
my husband. But boy,
This is some fornication talk right now.
Dude, that's so good.
Yeah,
Seeing
so
it before and after.
yeah, those were the tweaks we made. We've been trying to focus on the production aspect of it, switching from solo to group, mixing it up, zooming in and out, just having a lot of stuff coming from all directions.
Yeah,
Like we're like goldfish. I think the rule of thumb is with short form content, every 3 seconds you need to be having something to reset the viewer's attention. In long form, 7 seconds is kind of the rule of
We're
thumb.
just dumb
So
monkeys. We need things moving on the screen.
we
pay
really
attention.
are. And I'll pull up I'm gonna pull up a shorts data overlay that I made too. Let me stop sharing my screen.
Did you guys do that in Premiere?
He uses Premiere, and he also uses Final Cut Pro, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and shout out to Liam who is fighting COVID right now.
Oh, man.
But he still managed to get out that reel and everything, of course. But now he's the man. Talk about the best move I've ever made with this channel is hiring an editor. 100%. I did all of it before, and I was like, meh. I started getting okay, but they're so fast. Like real editors are so fast at just cleaning up ums and stuff. It's unbelievable.
That's I had to do it for a while for us too, but we hired Peter who does it now. I'm going to show him that.
Yeah. I'll connect with Peter.
He's
That's
the
who
man.
I was emailing with back in the day, right? When I did that collaboration with Rich and all.
I'm not sure.
I think it is. Yeah. So I can connect with them because I love doing this kind of stuff. But
Me
I wanted
too.
to pull up shorts data here. So we just started dropping a bunch of shorts pretty much every day now. At first, and again, this is just me being protective over our YouTube subscribers, but at first I didn't want to hit them with a notification every single day and a new piece of short form content and just be hammering them with content. So I was doing it on Instagram and TikTok and having a lot of success driving that traffic to YouTube. And we have tons of engagement on our posts on Instagram and TikTok. What I'm getting at is I was late to really get into the YouTube shorts because I was concerned about overloading our subscribers, which is such bullshit because it's good content. It's good content. It's not like anybody who already follows us is going to see one of those shorts and be like, oh, that's garbage, I'm unsubscribing. I mean, who knows? Maybe there have been people who have unsubscribed because they don't like getting all those shorts. I don't know. I doubt it, I guess.
The style of your guys' show is, I mean, there's so many little bite-sized moments because you guys are evaluating trades. So, I mean, there's not many times where you guys pop up on my feed and I scroll past. I'm usually tuned in and watching because it's relevant.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always relevant.
to the show.
It's something different every time.
Yeah, so this is what I see when I go into the YouTube Studio app where I spend way too much time. I guess it's Sleeper, Discord, and YouTube Studio. In terms of my screen time, that would probably be it, in no particular order. But yeah, we've gotten a lot more views on our shorts. You can see they're 45,000 more than usual. And down there, 72% viewed, 78 swiped away. That's actually pretty solid. Although we still do have some shorts at scale where it's kind of a 50-50 in terms of viewed and swiped away, but that just shows the top ones we've had. I do get a little bit more clickbaity with the titles on the shorts. I never use emojis and stuff like that with our live streams or Manic and Chill, but I was like, hey, if I'm going to be like quote unquote clickbaity, it's not even what clickbaity means, but if I want to be like loud, I'll do it on shorts.
Yeah.
And subscribers, I mean, it shows only 31, but it's ticking up. Like it's ramping. Shorts, what's nice is it sends it to a new audience. So it sends it to a patch of your subscribers, but it's a lot of unique viewers. Whereas, everything you publish on the channel, it's more confined.
Right.
TikTok also just fires it out, as you know, to tons and tons of people. We
Yeah.
get like 50 or so new followers on there just a day. It's just going to be constant forever. But
That's awesome.
shorts is a way to just get a brand new audience.
Are
yeah.
you guys finding ways to, like, what is your funnel? What's your funnel look like from TikTok to getting them to where you want them to go, which is Patreon, right?
Yeah, ideally that's where we want everybody to go, right? I mean, if we're going to grow and monetize this channel, it's going to be through the support of our patrons who get some good stuff as well. But I've been doing a lot of these Did It calls and meeting.
Garrett was one of the first to use Did It.
Yeah, we just started partnering with them, and it's been a lot of fun. I've done 57 calls now or something like that.
That's cool, man. I haven't tried it yet.
It's
not really my like thing, so to speak. Garrett loves it.
Yeah, no, it's sick. And I talked to the Did It guys, and they're going to create a little category for content creation. I was like, hey, can you create a category and I can be like there for content creation talk too? Because I think it has an application as well. You show your YouTube Studio analytics. Anyway,
Yeah.
I told them I'd prove the concept. So I put that pressure
cool.
on myself. But yeah, in terms of the funnel, the Did It calls, I was finding that they didn't even know we had a YouTube channel. Even though in my description and all, it says Dynasty Fantasy Football channel on YouTube. And you do that for TikTok SEO purposes too. And then why haven't you subbed to our channel yet? And it's like a finger pointing down to a link where you can join us. People it's that TikTok ecosystem. People are like, oh, I didn't even know you had a YouTube channel.
Wow. That's interesting. So like the people that were signing up for Did It through TikTok didn't know you had a YouTube channel.
Yeah. They were seeing the TikToks, or I also went live a couple of times. And that's another discussion, but people heard me say it there and then hit me up on Did It.
That reminds me of our Facebook group that we have on Facebook. Like the Dynasty Nerds Facebook group is like one of the biggest Dynasty fantasy football groups. But I think 80% of them probably don't know like Dynasty Nerds is like a brand and like a channel and a website. Cause I mean, we've tried to like leverage that or use that to post back to the website, and it gets nothing. Like nobody wants that.
No conversions.
They're just in there to talk, and like we just let it be. We kind of quit like hammering it. We just want it to be an ecosystem that lives on its own, and maybe we'll figure it out someday. But kind of similar to that.
We've gotten a lot of traffic though from TikTok and Instagram moving over to YouTube, no doubt. And you can always tell who the new subscribers are because they use a lot of LOLs and stuff and make fun of us in the comments, being like, "You guys are like, look at these clowns saying blah blah blah." It's like,
man, you'll always have that
from TikTok.
Oh yeah, you'll always have that no matter what. You just gotta.
Or anybody who cracks on Shane, it's like, you must be new. He's an acquired taste. Don't worry, you'll enjoy Shane.
Oh yeah.
No, but yeah, in terms of the funnel, yeah, we're just always trying to drive people to YouTube. That's our home base, and then go from there. I mean, I was going to ask you. So we have a Patreon. We just launched merch not too long ago. We're having some success with merch. Patreon is growing. We've got over 100 in there now, and we're getting solid feedback. I mean, the patrons get Mannequin Chill 3 days early. They get an extra live stream with the three of us on Saturday nights, Monday morning drive with Scott and Shane, and just a constantly active Discord, super active. So I think that is worth $20 a month. That is what we charge.
Are
We
you able to
split
give
it
them like
3
a
ways.
discounted did it rate or something?
So the first call on Did It is free too.
Okay.
So that's a valuable thing. And for anybody listening, hit me up on Did It. Hit me up with the Did It machine. Free call if you have Apple. But yeah, what was I getting at? What was I saying?
You were going to
Lost my
ask
train of
me
thought.
something. I'm
Sounds
not
about
sure.
right.
We were talking about the funnel, and then you're going through the list of offerings that you guys have on your Patreon.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was getting into a big question. So yeah, got the Patreon, got the merch. We have Google AdSense or whatever, things like that. If you're in our position where I think we kind of hit a stride like a year ago. Something clicked. We started getting known in the industry. Long story short, land the plane. What would you do in our case if you were trying to grow the channel? What do you, from your experience growing Dynasty Nerds, what do you see as lower hanging fruit, or what we're doing wrong or right?
Growing in terms of revenue or your reach?
I mean, they correlate obviously, but let's go in terms of reach.
So, to be honest, you guys are doing a very, very good job already. I mean, your guys' TikTok, like you said, you have TikToks and shorts coming out every single day. That's something we're not doing, and we need to be doing. So honestly, I think you guys are doing a much better job than even we are on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. So that's something that I could probably learn from you rather than me give you advice. I'm not an expert in this area by any means. So I would just say keep the consistency that you guys have shown and that you have, because that's the number one thing. It's consistency. And that's something I've struggled with personally with my content creation. You know, there's been a few podcasts that I've started and stopped just because I'm pulled in so many different directions, and you know, I have 3 kids, and it's tough. But anyway, from the revenue side of it, I would seriously look at moving away from Patreon, because they take a large, I don't know what the percentage is on that, but I would try to figure out a way where you could offer those same things that you already do just by using, like WordPress and setting up a membership thing through there where people can just pay using Stripe, and then you're getting that little percentage back.
Which is a good amount of a percentage.
Right. I don't know what Patreon's percentage is anymore.
There's the pro and then the premium plan. The pro, I believe, when it's all said and done, it's around like 9%. And then the premium is more like 15. But you hear all sorts of things from 9 up to 15. But yeah. I mean, Stripe is obviously going to take a lot smaller of a cut there.
But I would look at trying to eliminate that gateway to cut down on them taking money out of your pocket, essentially.
Yeah.
And then as you guys continue to grow, I know our brands are working on an affiliate partnership, which is great.
Yes, we are.
And I think partnerships with sponsors like Underdog and all these brands that are looking for ways to get in front of more eyeballs and more signups and people to deposit with them, start reaching out to these guys. And I can even help you with those contacts, and figuring out deals and then figuring out your worth over time like we did.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of start small and you kind of start tracking your sign up rates and how your audience is converting. And then you really start to understand your value.
And all this stuff. Yeah. No, how would you go about, have you ever gotten well, I'm sure you have, like with the podcast especially, but what is the process? Do you have like a media kit and all when you're approaching a sponsor for like a big upfront kind of sponsorship payment? What does a project look like? I mean, like the deliverables, you have like 5 reads or something. I'm sure you have it buttoned up, and I know you have lawyers and stuff like that too. But talk about like that's what I want to land essentially is like a big sponsor, not like Manscaped, which was basically like, oh, you get 10,000 views on your live streams, we're going to give you like $80 a month because
I know that
CPM basis. But yeah,
we had Manscaped for a little bit too.
Everybody did.
Yeah, they just there's
burn
they
and
don't
burn.
pay, you know, it's not worth anything. Let me pull up something here that I can actually like look at. And I'm not gonna give like every detail because I don't know how much I can actually like. I don't know what's confidential.
I know, right?
You, but
yeah, we're not live or anything.
I mean, so weekly podcast read, pretty typical. Their logo across like our YouTube videos is a part of it. And then if you have multiple shows, you can break it out. You could create packages where, okay, you're on this show only, and then you could sell the other show to someone else. Or some brands are going to pay more for exclusivity within their niche. So like, say you want to get a deal with Prize Picks, and they only want you, or you pitch like, hey, we'll only represent you instead of doing Prize Picks, DraftKings, and other competitors. That's value in itself. So that's going to increase the ask that you can get back. But there's a lot of different structures to these deals that you could negotiate. So like you can get a flat fee up front, and if you ask them to pay you all of it up front, that's a little harder on the cash flow for their company. So if you spread it out over, if you say, yeah, we'll spread it out over 12 months, then maybe you can get a little more back on that flat rate. And then if you're getting a deal where they're paying you per sign up, then that flat rate's obviously going to be a little less. Or if you bring the flat rate down and you're real confident that you're going to convert a lot of signups, then you may want to get that CPA deal a little higher. So there's just a lot of different ways that you can structure it, and it's really important that you read through it and you take notes on what you're doing and iterate on it, and you get creative and just have conversations with these guys too, because they're all playing fantasy. They're guys, they're good people, and it's a partnership. So like you got to give and they have to give, and you just got to talk things out and be reasonable. But you really just need to track your value and just figure it out over time and stick with it. As far as like a media kit, it's important to be prepared and show them that you are serious, like
know your numbers, right?
When I'm setting up these meetings with these companies, the first meeting we have, I have a whole slide deck ready to go. I have our podcast statistics, our audience numbers, our most converting or most visited pages on our website where we put banners and stuff, how we've done in the past with other sponsors, anything that can help us really sell to them like they want to go with us. And dude, utilize ChatGPT, man. And AI these days.
Do you use it?
I use it all the time now, man.
What's your
powerful
application that you use it for mostly that you would recommend?
Now if you pay their $20 a month, which that's an expense to you now if you're making enough money where you got to pay taxes on the money you're making in this space, that's just a business expense. So I use it a lot for statistics and like data, or like if I need to learn something and I'm not quite sure how to get there, I'll just ask it questions and let it teach me or give me a pathway on how to get there or where I'm trying to go. Even our podcast descriptions, like I literally copy and paste our show notes into the ChatGPT, and I tell it to write me a description. That's, SEO around Dynasty Fantasy Football. And then I don't just copy and paste it. I doctor it up. To not sound like a AI. Or at least I try to. And
But you only need to
I mean-
doctor it up a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
you just make like the first couple sentences.
And that
yours,
conversation
and then, yeah.
saved. So I just go back into that conversation. We just put out a survey to all our listeners and our audience through our newsletter to ask for feedback on how we can improve the Dynasty Nerds podcast. And I started by going to ChatGPT and telling it like what we were looking for by
What
putting
should
out a
we
survey to the audience. Like, what should we ask? Give me a list of 20 questions. And I pulled the best ones from there, iterated on it a little bit and put it together in MailChimp and sent it out. So, it's such a tool. I think
know. I'm
everyone
late
needs
it.
to get good with AI because it's all about how you're able to use it. It's only as good as your input into it. So
Yeah, that's why
Yeah,
everybody sells like these like one pager input, things as like digital products and all, like just selling how to prompt chat GPT, because I've used it a bit and it does take some practice, but it is ridiculous. I need to start paying more attention to AI because I know I could free up more time, but the problem is I'm just going to use that time for something else, so that I'm going to need super AI to.
So like the other day I extracted our listener metrics and it gives you a CSV, and I renamed the columns a little bit to be more clear. And I put it into ChatGPT and I told it to give me graphs that show 2019 to 2023 monthly download numbers, and it just created a line graph for me based off of the CSV I gave it, and that saved me like I could have done that, but
Hours and hours, right? I mean,
yeah,
maybe not hours and
half
hours,
hour
but
or something,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but that's then saved there in a conversation that I can go back to if I need to. I need some water.
That's awesome. Yeah, so I see in here too, Bijan Orbinson, it's the best, says your subs want the shorts. He said, I watch them. They're always well made and edited, always a highlight. Thank you very much, Bijan Orbinson. Yeah, it's something that was just in my head.
You guys do a great job, man.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, but I need to find a way. If I'm gonna do this for a while, I really need to grow this channel.
Scott's
Because
one of the
it
best
takes a ton of
Dynasty
time.
analysts in the
Oh,
space.
He's so good. I was
So damn
very
smart, man.
strategic.
I love the
picking
way he
him and
thinks about the
Shane.
game. Yeah, it's different too. It's a different approach that clicks with me.
Yeah, it's the whole strategy aspect of it, not just the players. It's construction and all. And I can see by the way your brain works how you could look at things that way as well, like process, strategy, roster construction.
That's
I
my
could see
favorite
that.
stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
That and rookies.
Yep.
Garrett and I actually started our own show that's basically strategy based and talking through concepts rather than weekly injuries and things you can get anywhere. But yeah, we're putting that on the main Dynasty Nerds feed, and going into next year we're actually expanding our content, so we're gonna be putting out 2 free shows now a week, and then obviously the Nerd Herd podcast, and then Garrett and I are bringing our show over to the main feed as well. So we're gonna have
Nice.
we're trying to do a lot more content. That seems to be what everyone wants, and I think that's probably best for the company anyway, and like we need to be doing more content.
It really is. Like the amount of reach. When Scott and I published, I guess 1 week we did 2 of these like pop-up shows where he and I just went live, during the day, and we just like unplanned. We had a couple weeks where we did that, and our views went way up. And then we had a couple weeks where we didn't, and the views are down. If you fire out like a bunch of good content, I think it's Alex Hermosi. He says it's not quantity of content, it's not the quality of content. It's like the quantity of quality output or content. It's like
both.
pumping out a ton of quality content.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you can just see it the more you fire out, and that's something I could help with too, man. That's something I'm trying to do for myself is do like a little consulting, like side stuff. I do some like side hustle things, but
Me too.
I would love to be a like consultant or like digital marketing, like quote unquote expert. They can call me an expert. I'll call myself decent. Yeah.
Well,
So
proof is in the pudding. You've done a great job so far.
I thank you, man. I thank you. So
What
let's
do you
hit
do for
a.
your full-time job? Sorry, don't mean to.
Yeah. No, I was working in medical equipment sales for a long time, for 11 years.
Okay.
Decided to get out of that space and get into digital marketing. So yeah, I do some stuff for an old boss. Been doing been doing DIDIC calls, grinding DIDIC calls, but basically I'm not making medical equipment sales money right now. Let's say that, but
That's bank. Yeah.
it's bank. It's a lot different. But like when
Yeah.
you see what postings are for jobs in this community, it's a little bit different, a touch different, but
Yeah.
it's all good, man. I'm happy making content, but yeah, I guess I'm also kind of a free agent like you were back in the day. Let's hit this Dynasty question, and then we're gonna call it a wrap. We have to start and finish with Dynasty. So Steve has a 12 team superflex tight end premium, so 1.5 PPR for tight ends, and he has to start 2 of them. He was the 6th seed and was booted. Been offered Dalton Schultz and a mid 24 second for his Kittle. Yay or nay?
That's tough for me because Dalton Schultz, no one's taken his job there as of yet, and he was doing well. And you're paired up with CJ Stroud, and you're getting that second back that you can do other things with. Then there's Kittle though too. That's really tough for me. I
The spike guy.
Yeah, I would try to get more back on the Schultz side. I think maybe a third on top of that. But it's close for me. What do you think?
Yeah, it's close. The start to tight end. I mean, the tight end is important for that reason. It's only a 1.5 for tight ends. We don't know how many starters here, but I'm assuming since it's a start to tight end, that tends to be a little bit of a deeper league. So let's assume at least a start 10. I could see it. I could see it if picks were worth something in my league.
Yeah,
I would take the package side. And yes, I think adding another third on top of that is a good way to do it. Get a little bit more leverage. But yeah.
The tough thing is like Kittle will give you those boom weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
He can win a matchup. Schultz is just
matchup.
Schultz will get you 10, 12, consistent. So that's a tough trade, man. It would be tough to get rid of Kittle for Schultz for me. Interested to see what the chat thinks. Shane's in the house, it looks like.
Scott would definitely. Yeah, I wonder what Shane would. What's up, Shane? Let us know what you're taking here. Schultz in a mid 24 second or Kittle. Start 2 tight end. Yeah, I think the process move taking the package is the right. He says, "God damn, Jared is handsome." The process move going with the package is probably smart, given the war, as Scott would say. With tight end, it gets so flat after Sam Laporta and I guess Hawkinson. So Shane wasn't listening. It's okay. It's okay, Shane. All good. So let's hide this one, and then we'll hit one more, and then we'll call it an evening. So this is from Brian Ricks. Need help after the bye. 4-point per passing touchdown. PPR. Bijan or Brees? Let's start with that one. Then there's another one.
Oh shit, I wasn't paying attention.
So Bijan or Brees, you're good. This seems like it's a start sit kind of situation. So who's playing who? I haven't even set my lineups yet.
I think Bijan has a good matchup. Brees Hall's, it's always questionable in that offense. I don't see. This isn't the shit that I do on a day-to-day basis, but
I'm looking it up too here. So okay, it's Colts at Falcons, and then Commanders at Jets. Yes, as a Commanders fan, they're a nice team to run against these days.
Yeah,
so.
I think I'm going Brees Hall there. Dude, Bijan scares the shit out of me. Brees Hall is going to catch at least probably four balls. At this point, I want to go with, and Brees is just as likely to get you a boom week. So I'm going to go Brees Hall.
Go Brees. Yeah, I actually bought Brees in one of the listener leagues, thinking I was going to get a hammer for the playoffs. I buy him. It was relatively cheap. It was what's going to be a really late first, a late second, and then Charbonnet, basically. And I got Brees in like maybe a third. But yeah, he put up what 6 or 8 points like last week's freaking running backs, man. And then he says,
I know you said you wanted to get out of here. I do have a question for you, actually, though.
What's up, dude?
Don't mind. What do you do to like prepare or take, like, do you take notes? And when you take in content across the space, like, do you have anywhere where you're storing information that you're collecting or anything like that?
I write stuff down here and there. I do a lot of the voice memo type stuff too, but my brain is just constantly, like, from the moment I wake up, I am thinking about the channel all damn day. Like literally from sun up to sundown. But I could be better in terms of putting my ideas down on paper in some kind of, Google sheet or something like that.
Like the things that you have to do on a day-to-day basis, or like, are you setting to-do lists, or are you making weekly goals, monthly goals, or even quarterly or anything like that? Are you tracking all of that stuff?
I've got a guy who's helping do that now. He's my right-hand man who's helping me get organized. But no, in terms of like big, I don't do that much in terms of the organization side of things, because I get too bogged down in being a perfectionist to where I would spend too much time making the tool and putting stuff into it and less time actually selling stuff.
So I use Notion for a lot of that.
Yeah.
And you can definitely get lost in like trying to make Notion cool and like messing with the tool. But there's also an app called Reader by Readwise. Have you heard of it?
No.
So I don't know if you've heard of like Pocket or Instapaper. So basically it's like a save it later app. So like any content you find across the web, YouTube videos, articles, tweets, anything. Like, how you can always share that to like a text message or something from your phone. But you can literally share it to that app. It'll save it for you to like read and consume within that app. So I send all the content that I want to consume to there. And then from there, you can like make highlights and really just like digest that information and save what you want from it. And then I have that syncs back to my Notion. So like I collect all that information, and Notion just rolled out this new AI feature, dude. So it's so powerful, because if you're collecting all that information that you consume back into like a hub like Notion, and you have it somewhat organized, Notion has this new AI feature which is called Q&A, and it's literally like ChatGPT, but only from your ecosystem or like your notes or the content and highlights that you've made. So like I have a whole like player database that I've put together over time, just because that's what I use to take my notes and stuff. So I can literally go in there and ask it questions on like Bijan Robinson, like different things, and it'll spit back information to me strictly from my notes. So
that's awesome.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, they just rolled it out. It's in beta, so I suggest people look into it and hit me up if you're curious about it too. So
that kind of stuff, that's going to be an action item for me after this is AI, and
I just moved our whole company, Dynasty Nerds, like we're using Notion now for our editorial calendar, our hub for like tracking everybody's to-dos and projects and staying organized and everything like that. So I'm actually helping Ray switch over from Airtable to Notion for their editorial flow too. So
nice.
Yeah, it's a little like I'm thinking about doing a little side business with that, with like helping companies with Notion.
Yeah, man. Yep.
There's so many people out there that
sell
do it.
templates. People sell their Notion templates and all. That's
right. Thinking about doing it, but people are interested. Hit me up.
Yeah, I mean, I'll help you out with it. I'll help you out launching it. Exactly. You're down. You figure out the ins and outs of it. Now, digital products is something that I definitely want to focus on. Video newsletters, stuff like that. I've got a bunch of ideas, that I need to put into Notion, but the ones that hit this brain 10 times a day are the ones that I put into action, right? Listen to your customer.
Yep.
Well, dude, this was fun, man. This was fun. We'll,
No,
I
it
guess
was-
wrap it up close to an hour, but yeah, it was kick ass, Jared.
I enjoyed it. Thanks for having me on, Clay. I really appreciate it, and I love talking this kind of stuff, dude. This is what I love doing.
Yeah, I hope this will end up being a cool series. I've got Jordan McNamara, Analytics of Dynasty, on next week, and then
Read his book.
yeah, and then
Last few publications of it.
Demon. Pro Football Demon is a creator on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, and he does the coolest content where it's skit style. And he's talking from here, and then he talks from here as like a Broncos fan, and then he's a Packers fan. It's so unique, hilarious, and he's been very successful with that style. So I'm having him on here too, which should be fun to get his view of things.
You should have Matthew Berry on.
Yeah, no problem. Let me just call him up. Yeah.
You should have a JL Garofolo on. He's
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You think that's attainable?
Yeah,
Like, you think I'll
JL.
be able
He
to-
works with Nick Ercolano now. He's I always talk this like business stuff with him, and he's very like-minded. Like you, he'd be a good one to have on your show. I can
Sounds
connect you
good to me.
guys.
I would love it. I would love it. That's the name of the game, man. Connections and building relationships, dude. Yeah,
For sure, man.
I appreciate that. All right, well, I'm going to end this stream. Thank you to the let's see how many people we still had in the crowd here at the end. 34. Thank you so much for joining. This is awesome. Guarantee some of them are loyal tribe members, are loyal hammers. So if you're interested in talking this stuff, hit me up on the Did It machine. Download it for iOS. Find me under Fantasy Football Experts, and we can talk about this. We can do a roster review on your Dynasty team. It's your call. It's uncapped. First call is free for you. So download it. Send me a DM on there. All right, I'm going to end this sucker. Thanks, Jared.
Thanks.